everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Courtney, and today I have a confession. So I may or may not have neglected watering some of my seedlings, and I may have had a few casualties. Not a ton, and I will show you what's going on in just a minute, but ooh, that hurts. I hurt my shoulder. I'm not exactly sure how, but I'm going to try to hold the camera with just this arm. But yeah, so today is my week 2 seedling update, and I'm going to be potting a couple of the seedlings a little bit deeper just to help them be a little bit more stable because they grew a little bit too fast. And you'll see what I mean in just a minute, but I did want to let you know that I unfortunately had a few casualties and a couple of my seedlings did die. So let me show you how the seedlings are doing, and then we will pot up a couple of the seedlings to hopefully get them a little bit more stable. Okay, so as you can see, there are a ton of things growing. Like my tomatoes already have their true leaves, and I have my Brussels sprouts growing. They are obviously a huge mess. And I do have some of my peppers finally coming up. But I'll show you what I mean. These are really dry right now, and I have been bottom watering my plants, but apparently the lights are just too strong, so I have had a couple of seedlings die on me, and it's really sad because, you know, obviously I don't want my seedlings to die, but unfortunately that happens sometimes. You can see over here it happened in these that are right underneath the grow light. So I still have plenty of very viable tomatoes, so I'm not too worried. Obviously I am a little bit bummed, but I have a couple of my ground cherries finally coming up, and my purple tomatillos are super leggy, so I'm gonna definitely try to repot those as well. But like I said, I do have a couple that are just really strong, and they don't need a ton of work, but the ones that are really leggy, like this one, I am gonna pot a little bit deeper just to help it out a little bit. Okay, so this is a little bit different of an angle than I normally do for my gardening videos, but I wanted to make sure that you guys could see exactly what I was doing while I repot these plants. So basically I'm just being really gentle because there is a root system in here, and although it's not like super established yet, I don't want to harm it significantly. So I'm kind of just trying to break up the soil in there, and you can see it's got a pretty long root, but it's not super established, which to me that means that like it grew really fast but not really strong. Now I could just be making that up, but in my head I like to see roots that have multiple strands and are a little bit more clumped together. Not so clumped together that they become root blocked, but close enough together that you can tell that it's a well-established plant. Now the cool thing about tomatoes is that they will root out of the side of the stem. So it's really hard to see on my camera, but there's little fuzzy hairs on the side of the tomato, which are basically tiny little roots that will establish themselves once they contact soil and feel like they can get you know, nutrients and stuff like that from whatever they're touching. So I am going to just put a little bit of soil back in here, just so that it's not touching the very bottom of, you know, the tray thingy. Obviously I don't know my words. It's been a really long day. Most of you know this, especially if you watch my budgeting videos, but I work a full-time job, and I do YouTube, and I sell cash envelopes on Etsy, and so I kind of spread myself a little thin, which I know is, you know, my own problem. I do it to myself, but this morning for work, I went in an hour early, and then I was asked to stay an hour late, so I'm just really, really tired at this point. It's like 8 o'clock at night, and so that's really all I'm gonna do. I'm packing it down so that it's solid, but not so tight that it's gonna harm the plant. And it's a little bit hard to tell, but I did shorten this quite a bit. And what's going to happen now is more roots are going to establish between the bottom of the plant to where I just put dirt into it. And that's going to help the plant grow a little bit more reliable, I guess. So I am going to do that just for a couple of plants. I'm not going to make you watch me do all of them, but I just wanted to show you that, like, obviously, okay, so obviously I'm not like a professional gardener. I've obviously never claimed to be a professional gardener, but I like to share what I've learned, and this is definitely something that I have learned. I've learned that this system of seed starting is not working very well, and I don't really have the money to invest this season as I would like to, but next year my garden's going to be a much bigger goal for me. I don't know why this always happens, but I feel like my garden ends up being a second thought, if that makes sense. I obviously love my garden, but I get so sad and distracted in the wintertime, because I live in upstate New York. I feel like I get so sad and just distracted in the wintertime that I don't put in the effort that I should early enough. I also know that I have issues with patience. Patience is it's not one of my stronger traits. I am very much a let's do it now. I'm really excited about this idea and I want to see it happen right away kind of person. And so when it gets time for seed starting, I am super excited about starting seeds, but I didn't really plan for it. I didn't really prepare for it. I kind of just decided I'm going to plant my seeds today. And obviously that was not that was not a great way to do things. And, you know, I learned from it. I try to, at least. I know inevitably I will probably do the same thing next year. But I do try to do better. And next year I really, really have a goal. Like, I see how I want my seeds to be started next year. So I'm really hoping that because I can see it in my head that'll be more likely to really happen. But this is a perfect example of what I mean by, like, I planted it deeper, so now it's not super leggy. It's standing up on its own, and it can develop more roots on the side of the plant to help get more nutrients. This one, I accidentally planted 2 seeds, and normally I would say I would save both of them, but to be completely honest, I don't need a ton of Roma tomatoes. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to save the one that's a bit stronger, and I'm going to sacrifice the other one. I know some people are probably cringing at the fact that I'm doing this, but my space is fairly limited, so I want to make sure that the plants that are more likely to survive and, you know, thrive are the ones that are getting my attention, because obviously I don't pay very good attention to my plants. I don't mean that. I do pay good attention to my plants. The problem is that I watched my nieces for 4 days, and, you know, I was coming down to my apartment and I was checking on them, but I just wasn't able to give them the attention that they needed, because I was a little bit more concerned about making sure that my nieces were still alive. I don't have kids, and so it was a little anxiety ridden. I was not quite prepared for the amount of work that it took to keep 2 kids alive. But I did it successfully, and so I'm really proud of myself, but I wasn't able to quite give my plants the amount of attention that I like to normally give them. And, you know, obviously that's my fault. And I just spilled that everywhere. You know, like I said, obviously that's my fault. I should have, you know, asked my mom to watch my plants, or taken more time to give my plants attention while my mom watched my nieces, because they do come to my mom's house for daycare, but I didn't, and that's obviously my fault, but I live and I learn. I learned the hard way, and I always have learned the hard way. So if you're in the same boat, I would really love some company. This video is probably getting super long, so I am gonna sign off for the night. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit different than normal, especially because I haven't done a sit down and talk video in quite a while, but I really appreciate these types of videos when other people do them, just so I can kind of see where their head is at, and it helps me feel a little less alone. But I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!